Okay, so myths and traps. So these are going to be the most common beliefs or mistakes that we see people making pretty much on a day-to-day basis whilst trying to build their online business. And for some people, these might even be excuses they use to try and justify why they haven't had the same level of success as other people have had online. And I only know this because essentially these are the things I used to believe, the mistakes I used to make, and the excuses I used to use way back before I've had the success I had today to kind of justify why I wasn't as successful as other people. So we're going to take a look at these things and help to kind of help you avoid falling for them, and just kind of help to put your mind at ease and help you to see that you can actually achieve what you want to achieve. These things aren't going to stop you. So the first thing we want to look at is that I don't have a big following thing. So the thing we need to understand is I was making money online way before I even got to 4,000 followers. So I was making money at a couple of hundred followers, and the thing that we need to understand is that followers, likes and shares don't pay bills. So it doesn't really matter the size of your following. It doesn't directly correlate into more money because people don't just come to your page and buy your program. So unless you're a Kardashian or you're The Rock or someone like that who's got millions and millions of followers, you can't just put a link in your bio or put a link in your story and someone taps on it and buys your program. That doesn't happen. Even if you was to get to, I know people who've got hundreds of thousands of followers, they can't put a post up in their bio and someone buys it. Like, it just doesn't work like that. I've worked with celebrities before. They post a link in their bio, nobody taps on it. So unless you're as I said, unless you're a Kardashian or The Rock with millions and millions and millions of followers, people aren't just going to tap on a link in your page and buy it. You might get the odd one or two, but if you're trying to deliver a premium service and make a long-term sustainable business, people aren't just going to tap on a link in your page and buy your program. So people need to understand that more followers doesn't directly mean more money. And the thing that I kind of learned as I was growing my following, which happens as time goes by and you're putting out good content, your following will grow, but it doesn't directly mean more money. And unless you know how to handle it, it can actually be a hindrance. So a larger following can actually be a slight barrier that you need to overcome when trying to make a sale. So it was easier for me to sell my coaching program when I had a couple of hundred followers than it was when I had 45,000 followers, because people just couldn't understand how, if you've got loads of followers, how you could offer a personalized service. Whereas when you've got a couple of hundred followers, then people are like, okay, he probably is only working with a handful of people. It's going to be a personal service. So unless you know how to handle it, having a big following can actually be a hindrance. The next one we need to look at is people paying over £1,000 or dollars for online coaching. It's got to be a scam. So this is something that I used to believe as well. Whenever I saw people selling like 1, 2, 3, 5k programs online, or these guru coaches selling 50 grand business coaching, I never believed that people would be willing to pay that, and always just assumed it's a scam. But the thing that we need to understand is that people will and do pay more money. So I'm going to show you some like screenshots of some Stripe or like payment transactions that I've received, and as you'll see, people will absolutely pay over £1,000 for online fitness coaching. So as you can see, people absolutely will and do pay more money than £1,000, $1,000 for online coaching. So when someone says it's a scam, if it was a scam, then why do I get such positive feedback from the people who actually buy and work with me inside my program? Why would they decide to re-sign and continue working with me, and why are they like referring their family and friends in? So if it was genuinely a scam, then we wouldn't receive the positive feedback that we do, and we wouldn't build our business through re-signs and referrals. So the people who will say it's a scam are most likely those who can't afford it, and are just a bit jealous and envious, or it's people who don't understand how to build a high ticket premium online coaching service. The others might be those who just don't understand what's on offer, and essentially that's your job. So you have to portray the value and communicate it in a way so that someone understands the value in the coaching that you're offering, and be able to put an offer out there that you can justify the premium price on. And essentially that's what we're going to be showing you how to do. So this doesn't mean that you can just start charging $1,000 for what you're currently doing right now. It has to be a fair exchange, and essentially this is what I'm going to show you. You have to be able to justify that higher price point. The other one we see quite a lot is people saying they don't have enough results or proof that they can do what they're selling. And the honest truth is you actually don't need a lot. So when you build out your personal brand, your own journey can be inspiring enough. And there's actually tons of ways that you can show proof. So you can use charts and graphs, print screens, which could be text, emails, comments. It could be check-in, feedback form. And you can also use your current and past network. So asking clients who've used one of your services before, even if it's not directly the same service, if you've still worked with them and provided them with a service they've been happy with, you can still offer them, you can still approach them and ask them to provide you with some kind of feedback and testimonials and those kind of things. So as I mentioned, there's absolutely tons of ways that you can provide results or proof. I know in the fitness world, side-by-side body transformations are really popular, but especially for those who are just getting started, you might not have tons and tons of side-by-side transformations, but hopefully you can see there's loads of different ways that you can share and provide enough results or proof that you know what you're talking about and you can do what you're saying you can do. So the other thing is you just need to understand how you can justify it. So even when you're communicating with people and they might ask you why you haven't got many results, when I was first starting out, I used to just say that the people I worked with are private people and they didn't want their results or their progress shared online. So I just communicated that with people, and often the people that I was chatting to and the people who were asking for the side-by-side results, I would just tell them that the people I work with don't want it shared online, and they also just kind of respected that. They were like, okay, that makes sense. You work with professional people. Typically in the corporate world, they don't want their like naked bodies like posted all over the internet. So there are tons of ways to show results and proof aside from body transformations. And then even if you're still struggling with finding enough proof or evidence in other forms, then you can just justify it with your messaging. The other thing is, this is more of like a mistake that I see people making, is they put this big announcement up, say like big things are coming, watch this space. But ultimately, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So it doesn't need to be this big groundbreaking thing. Like you're not going on Dragon's Den or Shark Tank trying to present this innovative new product. So you're just wasting a load of time and energy on stuff that doesn't actually matter. So we want to try and avoid getting distracted by like shiny new things and seeing what other influencers are doing, see what other business coaches or fitness coaches are doing. We want to try and avoid getting distracted and try to avoid like trying to reinvent the wheel. Like we just want to keep it really simple and just kind of accept that the less is more strategy is really effective. So especially in the coaching world, people want simple and effective strategies. So we just kind of play on that. We keep the program really simple. We make sure that it does what it says it does. We provide a really high level of service. And then you're not constantly trying to think of other things that you can add or trying to recreate this thing that doesn't exist yet and nobody else is doing. Because ultimately all that's going to happen is you're just going to waste a load of time, money and stress on things which don't have a direct impact or aren't going to work out. So you end up just right back where you started, but just obviously with less money. And that's one of the things I learned over the years whilst building businesses. A lot of them didn't work out, and a lot of them were due to trying to reinvent the wheel and just do things that didn't need to be done. The next thing is when we see coaches who are trying to sell based on their body shape and the way that they look. So often we see these people online with like these online coaches, especially with like six packs and abs, and their solution to try and get new clients is just trying to show their body off and people will buy. You've then kind of got the reverse of that, where someone is a little bit out of shape and their kind of mindset is people won't buy their program because they don't have abs. So you've kind of got two sides of the equation there, where you've just got one coach who will just try and use their body to sell the program, which doesn't work. And then you've got the other side of the equation where someone will stop or kind of delay trying to sell their program because they don't feel like they're in good enough shape. So the thing that we need to understand here is that people don't buy based on how in shape you are. People are buying from you for your ability to essentially solve their problems. They're coming to you because they relate to you, and they're able to understand that what you're talking about is common sense, it's making sense to them, and you've got the best solution for them. So they're not buying based on the way that you look specifically, they're buying for your ability to relate to them, show that you understand their problems, and show that you have a solution for their problems. The next thing we kind of see a lot of is it's kind of like this cockfighting amongst like coaches and trainers online. So they try and talk about their qualifications, how many years of university they've done, how many different fitness courses they've done, and how just kind of technical they are at their job. But at the end of the day, nobody cares. So unless you're working with specialist populations and you need a special qualification to work with that person, nobody cares. All they care about is whether you can get them the result. And this also comes across in the content that you're creating. So when you focus so heavily on your own qualifications and trying to display how intelligent you are and how many different exams you've taken, in your content you talk at such a technical level that it's like you're trying to impress other trainers and coaches rather than the people who actually want to work with you. So your content is on a level that your clients don't understand. Your program is probably set up in a way that your clients don't understand. So it's all about just focusing on the results and the outcomes and trying to help your clients understand that you're there to serve them, not try and just justify your qualifications to kind of show off to other PTs and coaches and that kind of stuff. The other thing we see is people saying that it's so competitive that they're never going to be able to get enough clients because everyone's an online coach. The truth is, you only need a handful of new clients every single month. So people think you need hundreds and hundreds of new clients every month to have a successful online business. But doing what I show you how to do, you're only going to need a handful. So 2 or 3 new clients every single month to make 5 to 10k a month. So you don't actually need as many people to have a successful online business as most people think. And it actually gets easier. So once you've got your first couple of clients in the bank, it's actually a lot easier to get your next 2 or 3 clients through a number of different strategies, referrals, re-signs, start putting a small budget behind advertising, and also because you've got a track record, again, it's just easier to get your next 10, 20, 30, 50 clients. But the other thing we need to kind of just put into perspective a little bit is that there's 8 billion people on this planet. So there is more than enough people out there who need help. And even if you was making sales to such a tiny percentage of those people, you're going to be making over 100k a year. So there is more than enough to go around. You haven't got to worry about how competitive it is. And when you kind of go through the modules and understand personal branding, you'll see that you actually have nothing to worry about really. Okay, so those are the most common myths and traps. Hopefully we've debunked all of those enough for you, and you can kind of see that there is actually no reason for you to have all the success that you want. So hopefully that was useful, and I will see you in the next video.